Hey everyone, and welcome back for another deep dive. Today we're going to be talking all about floating floors.
Sounds good.
It's something that, a lot of people think they have a good grasp on,
Yeah.
but we're going to dig a little deeper today.
Okay.
And we're using this fantastic article from flooring365.co.uk to guide us.
Right.
So they break down everything from what they are to why they're so popular, and even like the really important things to think about before installing one.
Yeah, I think it's a topic that a lot of people kind of, oversimplify a little bit.
Right.
But when you dig a bit deeper, there are some really interesting aspects that I think are worth considering, especially when you're trying to make the best decision for, your own home.
For sure. So let's just jump right in with the basics.
Okay.
What is a floating floor? The article uses this analogy of, like, it floats over the subfloor.
Yeah, it's a great way to visualize it because rather than being directly attached to the subfloor with, say, nails or glue or anything like that, it's simply resting on top. And it's held together kind of as one big unit, almost like a giant puzzle.
I always thought floating floors were just like engineered wood or laminate.
Right.
But the article mentioned LVP.
Yeah.
Luxury vinyl planks.
Yeah.
Can be floating too. I had no idea.
Absolutely. And that's the thing. It's more about the installation method.
Huh.
Rather than the material itself. And that's kind of where the magic of interlocking comes into play.
Okay, so let's talk about that.
Yeah.
Interlocking. How do these planks or tiles, stay together to create a surface you can actually walk on?
So each plank or tile is designed with edges that can snap or click together.
Oh, cool.
So they form a really tight bond. And it's that system, that interlocking system, that creates this unified surface that can withstand the weight and pressure of, everyday use.
Okay, so it's not just resting. It's like creating its own structure almost.
Exactly. Yeah, it's kind of forming its own independent structure.
Wow. Okay. The article also mentioned underlayment.
Yeah.
What's that all about?
So underlayment is essential for pretty much any floating floor installation.
Okay.
And it's this thin layer that goes between your subfloor and the flooring itself.
Okay.
And you can kind of think of it as a cushion.
Okay. So it's for comfort, like a little extra padding.
Absolutely. Yeah, it adds comfort underfoot. But, aside from the comfort, it actually plays a couple of other really important roles.
Oh.
Like, for example, it's a fantastic sound absorber.
Oh, wow.
So it really helps to kind of muffle the sound of footsteps.
That's good, especially if you have like downstairs neighbors or something.
Especially, yeah, you don't want to be that noisy upstairs neighbor.
Right, exactly.
And then another key function is moisture protection.
Really?
So the underlayment acts as a barrier, kind of protecting your floating floor from any moisture that might be coming up from the subfloor.
Huh. So an underlayment does a lot.
It does a lot. Yeah. It's kind of like the unsung hero.
Okay, I'm sold.
It's providing comfort, soundproofing, and that moisture protection all in one thin layer.
Nice. So why would someone even choose a floating floor in the first place?
That's a great question.
Like, what are the advantages?
Well, one of the biggest draws for a lot of people is how easy they are to install.
Okay.
So, they're very DIY friendly, which can save you a significant amount of money on installation costs.
I love a good DIY project. I'm all about that. So what else makes them a good choice?
Well, they're also super versatile. So they can be installed over a variety of existing subfloors, like, concrete or plywood.
Okay.
So that makes them perfect for renovations, for example, where you might not want to, rip out the existing floor.
Perfect for a quick makeover.
Exactly. And yeah, like you said, really good for places like rental properties where you might not want to make any permanent changes.
For sure. Okay, so we've got ease of installation, versatility, anything else?
Let's not forget about durability. So floating floors are engineered, to be able to handle those natural expansions and contractions that happen with changes in temperature and humidity.
Oh, right. So they don't warp as easily as some other floors might.
Exactly. Yeah. They're built to withstand those fluctuations, which is important for, making sure that the floor lasts for a long time.
Okay, so that's good. What about sustainability? Are there eco-friendly options when it comes to floating floors?
Absolutely. Yeah, a lot of the materials that are used, particularly engineered wood and laminate, they often use sustainable materials, and they're manufactured in, environmentally friendly ways.
So they're good for the planet too.
Exactly.
Wow, okay. So we've got easy to install, cost-effective, versatile, durable, A&D, potentially eco-friendly.
They tick a lot of boxes.
Okay, I'm impressed. So what about like the actual materials?
Yep.
What are the most popular ones used for these types of floors?
So the article really highlighted like three main ones.
Okay.
You've got your engineered wood, laminate flooring, and then luxury vinyl tile.
Okay.
And they each have their own like unique strengths.
All right, I'm ready to hear about them.
Yeah, let's dive in. Let's start with engineered wood.
Okay, engineered wood. So I love real hardwood floors, but they could be so delicate.
Ah.
So how's engineered wood different?
So engineered wood kind of gives you the best of both worlds.
Okay.
You get that authentic look and feel of real wood, but it's much more durable and stable.
Okay, how do they do that?
So unlike solid hardwood, which is literally just a solid piece of wood, engineered wood is made up of multiple layers.
Okay.
So you have like a thin layer of real hardwood on top, which is what you see and feel.
Right.
But underneath that, there's a core made of either plywood or high-density fiberboard.
Okay.
And these layers are kind of stacked in a cross-grain pattern.
Uh-huh.
So it makes them much stronger and less likely to warp or buckle due to, changes in moisture or temperature.
So it's like a super strong wood sandwich.
Exactly. Yeah, that's a great way to put it. It's that layered construction that makes all the difference.
Okay, wow. All right, what about laminate? So I've heard laminate is really good for like busy households with kids and pets and stuff.
Yeah, laminate is fantastic for that
Okay.
because it's incredibly durable, scratch resistant, all that good stuff.
Yeah.
So it has this top layer that's made of high pressure laminate, which is pretty much indestructible.
Okay.
And it's perfect for areas with like high foot traffic
Okay.
where spills might happen.
Right, yeah.
All that kind of stuff that comes with, a busy family life.
So it can really handle the wear and tear,
Mm.
but it's not real wood though, right?
Right.
How do they make it look so real then?
So this is where technology comes in. They basically use really high resolution printing.
Okay.
So the top layer of laminate is actually a photograph of like wood grain or tile.
Oh, wow.
And that's printed onto the core, which is usually made of high-density fiberboard. And the quality of these prints is incredible.
Okay.
Like, it can be really difficult to tell the difference between laminate and the real thing just by looking at it.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing.
Okay. So you can get the look of hardwood or tile.
Yeah.
But without that high price tag and, less worry about damage too.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. That makes a lot of sense. All right. Now for the last one, LVT. The luxury vinyl tile.
Yeah.
That waterproof thing is really intriguing.
Yeah, LVT is definitely a game changer in a lot of ways.
Okay.
It's made from layers of PVC, which is polyvinyl chloride.
Okay.
And that's naturally waterproof.
All right.
So you can use it in kitchens, bathrooms, basements, anywhere where moisture might be an issue.
Wow. So many possibilities. So I can have a wood look floor in my bathroom now.
Absolutely.
Without worrying.
Yep. That's the beauty of it.
But how does LVT look like wood or stone if it's made from PVC?
So similar to laminate, they use that high-resolution printing technology.
Oh, okay.
So, the top layer is a photographic image of the material that they're trying to mimic.
Yeah.
And then they put a clear wear layer on top to protect it. So you can find it in all sorts of styles, from like classic wood grains to really modern concrete looks to like, elegant marble patterns. You name it, they've probably got it in LVT.
So I can have the look I want with the waterproof durability.
Exactly. Yeah, it's a really versatile option.
That's awesome. So we've got engineered, wood, laminate, and LVT. All these different options for floating floors. Are there certain spaces where they work best?
That's a great question. Yeah, let's talk about that next.
Sounds good.
Welcome back. We're going to keep talking about floating floors.
I'm excited to keep going.
Me too.
Okay, so we talked about like the basics and all the different materials.
Right.
But where do these floors really excel?
Yeah.
Like, are there any specific rooms or places where they just make the most sense?
Yeah, for sure. Like if you think about areas where you want the look of maybe hardwood or tile, but with a bit easier installation and maybe even maintenance, that's kind of where floating floors really shine.
Okay, so what are you thinking?
Well, living rooms and bedrooms are great examples. They can bring a lot of warmth to those spaces.
Yeah, I can picture like a nice engineered wood floor in a living room.
Yeah, exactly.
That would look really nice.
Yeah, without having to go through all the hassle of installing like a traditional hardwood floor.
Right, right. What about basements? I feel like they're always a tricky spot, with moisture and everything.
That's true, yeah. Basements can be tough.
Would a floating floor even work there?
Well, that's actually one of the advantages of floating floors. With a good moisture barrier underlayment,
Oh, right.
they can be a really great option for basements.
Huh.
Yeah, they can create a really warm and inviting space, even in, an area that might be prone to dampness.
That's pretty cool. Seems like they really are versatile.
Yeah, definitely.
What about like rental properties? Would they be good for landlords or renters?
I think they're a great option for both, actually.
Really?
Yeah. Remember, they're pretty easy to install and
Yeah.
remove, which is great for a landlord, Who needs to update their properties between tenants?
For sure.
And they're usually a bit more budget-friendly, which is good for everyone.
True. So they work well for rentals too.
Yeah. They seem to be working for everything.
I know. It's like, are we just going to float away with how good these are?
It does seem that way, but, we do need to be realistic.
Okay.
They're not going to be the perfect fit for every single situation.
Okay. Good point.
And there are definitely some things you should think about, before you jump in.
All right. So what are some of those things we should watch out for?
Well, probably the most important is your subfloor.
Okay.
Because floating floors, they really do need a nice flat and stable surface to go on.
Right.
So if you've got bumps or unevenness in your subfloor,
Yeah.
you're going to have to fix that first.
That makes sense. You wouldn't want your nice new floor to be all bumpy.
No, definitely not. And while we're on the topic of things being even and level,
Yeah.
we have to mention expansion gaps.
Oh, yeah. Those little spaces around the edges.
Yeah, exactly. You got to leave some room for the floor to breathe.
Huh. I always thought they were just like a design thing.
They do look nice, but they're super important for the floor itself.
Really?
Yeah, like without those gaps, your floor could actually buckle or warp over time.
Wow. Okay, so they're important.
Very. And speaking of things that could go wrong,
Wow.
we can't forget about sound.
Right. You mentioned underlayment for soundproofing.
Yeah,
But what if you choose, like, the wrong kind?
that's when you might run into trouble.
Okay.
Yeah, without the right underlayment, you could get a kind of hollow drum-like sound when you walk on the floor.
It doesn't sound very pleasant.
Not really, and it could be really annoying for the folks downstairs, too.
So underlayment is important for, like, both comfort and sound.
Absolutely. It's worth investing in a good one.
Okay. Any other things we should be thinking about?
Well, we can't talk about flooring without mentioning moisture.
Right. But LVT is waterproof, though, right?
Yeah, but that doesn't mean all floating floors are...
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's a common misconception. While LVT can handle those wet areas, some other types, like certain laminates, are not water resistant at all.
So you got to be careful about what you pick, depending on the room.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Think about where it's going and how much moisture it might be exposed to.
Okay, so just to recap those important points. We've got to prep that subfloor.
Yes.
Got to have those expansion gaps.
For sure.
We need the right underlayment
Super important.
and be mindful of moisture.
Exactly. It's all about planning ahead.
All right, so what if someone is brave enough to try installing this themselves?
That's great. It can be a really rewarding project.
Yeah.
And the article had some good tips for that.
Oh, perfect. Let's hear them.
Well, first and foremost, prep work is key. Like we said, that subfloor needs to be clean and level. Because any imperfections, they'll show through.
Right, so it's like getting a canvas ready for a painting.
Exactly. You want a smooth base.
Okay.
And then, once your subfloor is ready, don't forget to acclimate your flooring.
What does that mean?
So you basically let those planks or tiles just sit in the room where they'll be installed for at least like 48 hours.
Why is that?
It lets them adjust to the temperature and humidity of the room.
So they get used to their new home before they're put down.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Interesting.
And then, since we've already talked about underlayment,
Right. Super important.
don't skimp on that. Invest in a good quality one.
Yeah, we talked about that.
It makes a big difference.
Okay. Anything else?
Well, the golden rule for any DIY project really applies here. Follow the manufacturer's instructions.
Yes. Good advice.
Yeah, each product is a little different, so those instructions will have the best tips.
Okay. So after hearing all of this, how does someone decide if a floating floor is the right fit for them?
Well, we've talked about a lot of things.
We have.
But ultimately, it comes down to your needs, your budget, and the specifics of your space. Floating floors have a lot of benefit.
They do. They're easy to install, versatile, durable, generally pretty affordable.
Yeah.
And often they're eco-friendly too.
So many good things.
But you have to balance those with the things we talked about.
Right, like the subfloor,
Yeah.
making sure it's flat.
Expansion gaps,
Yeah.
choosing the right underlayment,
Super important.
and being realistic about moisture.
Exactly.
So it's all about making an informed choice.
Absolutely. And, while we focused on the practical stuff,
Yeah.
let's not forget about the design possibilities.
Ooh, that's the fun part.
Yeah. There are so many materials, colors, and styles out there. A floating floor can really transform your space.
That's a great point. It's not just about function. It's got to look good, too.
Exactly.
Well, that's a great thought to leave everyone with as we wrap up this part of the episode.
Yeah. And when we come back, we'll dig into those design possibilities a bit more. All right, sounds good. All right, welcome back to our floating floor deep dive. I'm ready to see how these floors actually look in different spaces, like get some inspiration.
Me too. It's one thing to talk about all the technical stuff, but seeing the design possibilities in action is really exciting. So let's take a little virtual tour, shall we?
Sounds fun.
All right, picture this. A modern loft apartment, with those exposed brick walls and industrial chic vibes.
Okay, yeah, I could see it.
What kind of flooring would complement that style?
I'm thinking something sleek, maybe a little modern, but also with a touch of warmth to balance out all that, industrial stuff.
You're on the right track. I'm picturing a wide plank engineered wood floor, maybe in a rich walnut finish, something dark.
Ooh, I like that.
It would add a lot of sophistication and warmth, and it would look amazing against that brick and metal.
Yeah, I can totally see it. It would soften those hard edges and make the space feel more inviting.
Exactly. It's all about balance. Okay, now let's switch gears completely. Imagine a cozy cottage in the countryside.
Oh, I love cottages.
What kind of floor would you put there?
I'm thinking something rustic, maybe with a bit of a distressed look, to match the charm of the cottage.
Perfect. A distressed laminate floor would be amazing in that space, maybe in a light oak or something.
Oh, yeah, with whitewashed walls, exposed beams, a fireplace.
Exactly. And underfoot, you have this beautiful, slightly imperfect floor that looks like it's been there forever.
It sounds so cozy. I can practically feel the warmth of the fireplace already.
See, flooring can really set the whole mood.
Totally. Okay, now for something completely different. A glamorous bathroom.
Ooh, I like where this is going.
Yeah. What kind of floor would make that space feel extra luxurious?
Well, for a bathroom, you want something that's elegant, of course, but it also needs to be practical.
Right, waterproof.
Exactly.
Right.
So this is where LVT really shines. I'm imagining a herringbone pattern, maybe in a calming marble finish.
Oh, wow.
That would look so chic and sophisticated.
Yeah, it would. And I wouldn't have to worry about, water splashing on it. Exactly. You can have that spa-like bathroom without the stress.
It's amazing how many different looks you can achieve with floating floors.
I know, right? It's all about finding the right material and style to match your vision.
So I think we've covered a lot of ground today. But are there any, common questions or concerns that people have about floating floors that we haven't touched on yet?
Good point. One thing that often comes up is durability, especially for families with, kids and pets.
Yeah, that makes sense. Can floating floors really hold up to all that wear and tear?
Absolutely. Like we talked about earlier, engineered wood and laminate are known for being super durable and scratch resistant.
Okay, good to know.
They can definitely handle the daily grind of a busy household.
What about sound? We talked about underlayment, but is there anything else people should keep in mind to minimize noise?
Yeah, sometimes people worry that a floating floor, because it's not attached, will be creaky or noisy.
I could see why they might think that.
But honestly, a well-installed floating floor with the right underlayment shouldn't make any weird noises.
So that's not really something to worry about.
Well, if it's done right, it should be nice and quiet.
Okay, good. And what about cost? How do floating floors compare to other flooring options?
Well, in most cases, they're actually more affordable than solid hardwood or tile.
That's good news.
Yeah, the materials are usually less expensive, and the fact that you can often install them yourself saves money, too.
Makes sense. All right, well, I think we've covered pretty much everything there is to know about floating floors.
I think so, too. We've gone from the basics to materials to installation to design to common concerns.
I feel like a floating floor expert now.
I hope so. It's been fun chatting with you about all this.
Me too. And a big thank you to flooring365.co.uk for that amazing article.
Yeah, their website has a ton of great information about flooring if anyone wants to learn more.
All right, everyone, that wraps up our deep dive into the world of floating floors. Hopefully you're feeling as inspired as I am. Until next time, happy flooring.